So now we've got our logic in place, we need to go and test in Postman, but let's make sure we restart our API first of all. And I know I haven't started mine since I added the migration. So what we'll do is we'll just execute .NET watch run and press return. And we want to make sure our application starts, of course, and just double check the database as well. Make sure that we have the refresh tokens table in place, and I'm going to assume this is okay. I can see a clean request there to create the table refresh token. Looks good to me. So what we'll do is we'll head over to Postman, and we've got a section here called Identity CB for Identity Cookbook, and I'm just going to log in as Bob and save the token to the environment. And we get a 200 OK, and we've got our token. Everything looks good. And we should be able to go and get our activities using that token which is being sent up to our server. And if I click on send, then we can go and get our activities. Now this token is due to expire in 1 minute. So I'm going to pause the video, let a little bit of time pass, and then come back. And what we want to see is a 401. So I'll come back in a minute. Okay, so that's about a minute, so let's give this another go. And if I click on send, then we get a 401 unauthorized. And if we take a look at the headers, then we can see in the www authenticate header that the invalid token, the token expired at. Okay, so far so good. But what we should also see inside Postman, we've got an area for cookies here. And inside here is the refresh token cookie that was sent back with our request, and we can see the token, the string of random text that was created, and we can see it's an HTTP only cookie and its expiry date. So this expires in 7 days, which is good, but it's only good when we are authenticated, because if I try and refresh my token and send up an expired token, we already know this is expired, and click on send, then we get the 401 unauthorized. So we can only use this refresh token endpoint whilst we're still authorized with a not expired token. There is another approach to this, by the way, where you can send up an expired token and then issue a new token from there. And rather than validate the token expiry in the endpoint, you can actually go and fish out the claims principal, make sure that part's valid, and then issue a refresh token. But the downside to that is that if somebody gets hold of the refresh token, then it's very easy for them to get a valid token. So there's two approaches to this is what I'm saying. And we're taking the approach that we're going to try and refresh the token before it expires, rather than letting the token expire and allowing the user to get a new token from an expired token. So what we should be able to do anyway is we should be able to log in as Bob again. But let's say, for example, the token's about to expire. We can go and get our activities once again. We've got a new token. And then just before the token expires, what we can do is go and hit our endpoint to refresh the token and get a replacement token. And I've got the image equal to null in the refresh here. So what we also need to do, because if I log in as Bob, then we do have an image, but in the refresh token, we're not returning the image, so we didn't include the images with the request. So let's make that correction as well. Now I've seen it. And inside the refresh token, we need to add another include for the photos as well. So we're going to say include, and we'll say p goes to p dot photos. Otherwise, that's going to wipe out the image every time a user refreshes their token. So what we'll do, we'll just go back and just repeat the request to go and log in as Bob. And if I go and refresh the token and click send, now we get the image as well. And we've got our refresh token in the cookie, and we're all good from the server side. So now what we need to do is go and set this up on the client.